When I sold one of my first companies, a Help a Reporter Out, it was acquired by Pure Newswire, and we made the announcement. And I came home the next day because it was announced in DC, and I stayed overnight. And I was in DC. I was coming back into my apartment. I lived on 57th Street at the time. And I was coming back in that night or that morning. I'm in the elevator going into my apartment. For the first time in my life, it sunk in that I just sold this company for a lot of money. And I remember I'm sitting in the elevator, I got some money. I did this thing. For the first time in my life, I started to believe my own press.
It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 259. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. I guess we should say before we get going that you have a migraine. And
I do.
And you were on the fence as to whether or not you were even going to record. So she's powering through, people. So she doesn't seem like her normal chipper self.
I'm not.
Yeah, it's because she's not. So we get to play a fun game. This is a fun game for people listening at home called Will Their Marriage Survive? Recording an episode of the Clip Out whilst she has a migraine. So
I can't even laugh because it hurts my head.
Oh, no. Then it won't. It won't survive.
Don't make me pout because then I might start crying.
Oh, goodness. So, just some house cleaning stuff before we get started. Want to point out that the Olive and June makeup fancy sleepover party.
It's not a sleepover party. The Manny Masterclass is this weekend. And I think it's at 11 Central, noon Eastern. Okay. So you have to do the rest of the math for me there. But for all the rest of the time zones. And if you haven't signed up and you want to go, just go to the Clip Out group and sign up at the link. And we are all going to have the option to be able to see each other on the screen. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It does sound fun. Like it's not my jam because I don't paint my nails. Although if I wanted to, I could, and no one can judge me.
Absolutely.
But I don't even comb my hair. So the least amount of grooming I have to do.
Greg Heibel was like, okay, I'm asking a real question. Like, why would you do this? And here's the deal. Olive and June has a bunch of tools that make painting your nails easier and make them look better.
Right.
And maybe not everybody needs those tools, but I sure the heck do.
Yeah.
So we're going to learn from the professionals how to use those tools to the best ability possible. And that's what it's all about. And getting to see each other on screen and hang out with each other. That's the other fun part.
And it helps you replicate a manicure done by a third party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or that quality and not just
that's what
nails.
I mean. Yeah, it looks so much better because you're using all these tools. That was my point.
I know, I'm just helping out. Here comes the migraine fight.
I'll just say nothing.
Also, just want to let people know, no Angelo this week, no Dr. Jen, but they will be back, so fear not.
Yeah.
Or enjoy them not being here if you're one of those people.
Yeah. If you're one of those.
Yeah. So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people?
Well, John Mills is going to be here. We're going to recap Homecoming.
Okay.
And yeah. And just, a trigger warning for those who don't like my opinions about things. I'm going to have opinions.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole bunch of news. The instructors have been lots of places. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's going on with Peloton, like from the loan perspective, lawsuit updates, competitors, and then just some, in case you missed it, an artist series.
Okay. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeart, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us while you're there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review if you haven't done that yet. That would be greatly appreciated. Doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And if you want to stay up to date on the things we say in the show. We throw a lot of articles and stuff at you. You can sign up for our newsletter, which comes out weekly, and you can do that at our website, theclipout.com. Finally, if listening to this isn't enough and you just gotta look at us, you can also do that by checking out youtube.com/theclipout, where these episodes live.
This doesn't feel like the best week to do that.
HD glory. So if you want to see what Crystal looks like with a migraine, this is your big opportunity. This is your moment, your time to shine, people. But there's all that. So let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Run, lift, and live with John Mills.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is John Mills from Run, Lift, and Live. Hey, John, how's it going?
How's it going?
Got the energy today. I love it. I love it. Got your grandpa's shirk shirt on. You are ready to go.
And if anyone is choosing to watch us on YouTube, you're in your fancy space where you record your show at.
Yeah.
This is the first time you recorded with us from there. We're very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to angle the thing. I always wait until the last second to figure this stuff out. So it was always too late. So I got it all angled. Right.
Awesome. I guess just talk about Homecoming. So we're gonna recap Homecoming. There's lots to unpack. I called it in the headline: the good, the bad, and the glitchy.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird things that occurred. So I guess we'll start with the good. The rower was finally officially teased. I mean, you can't say it was really announced, but hey, it's happening. So that's a thing.
People were really excited about it.
People are excited about it. Yeah.
I think they're really excited about, I'm hearing a lot of people that were really excited about seeing Adrian on the rower.
Yeah. Yeah. It does make perfect sense, but it is nice to see. Clearly, he's going to be the lead row instructor. So that's pretty cool. I think the thing that stood out to me, there were two things that stood out to me. One, the red accents on the line where you row back and forth that goes in and out of the machine. I thought that was interesting. They made the cords red. And the reason I think that's interesting is because if those things like break or get damaged or whatever, it's going to be like a whole process to get new ones. That's going to be a whole thing. Also, Tom and I were talking to each other about the rower, and it does not appear to, at least from the images we saw, which were very brief, that it folds up. But I did see a still shot of it, and it looks like there's like a foot on the end of it. So I do think that you're going to be able to tip it up. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to fold it before you tip it up, but those were two things that stood out to me about it. So is Danielle getting one after all this?
After all of this, she says she's getting one.
Okay.
So,
you sound skeptical.
You do.
You calling her out? Is that what we got going on here? She said
I just teased her for so long. She had to say she was getting one.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame her if she doesn't. I teased her so much.
I was like, be careful, John. She knows where you live.
Yes. The day it's available for order, then you need to be like, I'm hearing rumors of an elliptical.
Exactly. I want one because I saw Adrian on it, and that makes you think, it's going to be existing instructors.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. Well, I definitely think it'll be existing instructors. I know that they'll hire more because they always do.
They've got so damn many instructors that they seem to be barely utilizing. Do they really need to go hire more to teach 3 rowing classes?
I can't lie. Some of them, I don't know.
Yeah.
You remember the days when you knew every instructor and you took every class? I don't know. Some of these instructors,
I knew, not only did I know them and take every class, but I knew their backgrounds, where they came from. I was looking up, I've been working on this secret project that I'm not going to get into, but I've been learning lots about the instructors. I was looking up Mela from Germany. Did you know she used to be a surfer? I had no idea.
All I know is in all of her stories, she's surfing. She's in these big, huge waves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow.
So I'm going to sound really dumb right now. You can surf in Germany?
I don't even know that. I have no knowledge of geography of Germany. I barely have knowledge of geography in America.
Yeah, like geography is like, I know a lot of weird stuff. I do not know geography, probably because it's not weird and it's something you should actually know. But I'm just like, but so now, and I know that's like, I know I shouldn't reduce Germany to this, but now I have pictures of like surfing Nazis. Is that?
I think that's kind of offensive.
That's right where my head went. I'm like, it means there were Nazis that were like, let's go surfing. Like,
I don't know. They had lots of U-boats back in the day. I wonder, like, if that's why. Like, they're surrounded by water, is what I mean by that, so they can get around easily. See, this is why we shouldn't talk about geography. We know nothing. We're making it worse.
This is how little I know about geography.
Yes.
I've been living in Connecticut since 1998. And if you ask me to get anywhere here, I can't tell you. So, don't ask me outside of my neighborhood.
I mean,
or outside of the state. I don't know.
Thank God they have Google Maps, because I have no idea how I would get from point A to point B. Like, if I had to find it, this is why so many marriages broke up in the 70s. They didn't have Google Maps. Boy, they had to read a map. Like, what?
I remember my parents, who are now divorced. Well, they're dead now, but before they were dead, they got divorced. And like, I just remember going on road trips where my dad would drive and my mom would read the map, and it was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was just a window into that relationship an 8-year-old doesn't need.
I remember one time my dad, long story, I don't even know how this happened, but for some reason we ended up having to drive to the Chicago airport to drop off dogs for people who were ironically moving to Germany. And they couldn't take off from the airport in central Missouri because it was too hot, but they could take off from the international airport in Chicago. So we had to rent a van and drive their dogs to Chicago from Jefferson City. Now, my father is as country gets, and we were driving a unmarked white panel van through downtown Chicago and had no idea where we were going. And we were lost forever. I mean, I can't. My mom and dad got in a fight. My dad handed me the map at age 11. I had to navigate us to the airport. It was bad.
I don't know how we got along without this. Well, when I was a kid, I used to go with my grandmother on these real estate things. She was a real estate agent, and I have to read the Thomas Brothers map for her. And I was always stressed out.
Yeah, it is stressful. I could barely
figure out, Grandma, I think you're supposed to turn.
There it went.
Can you imagine being a real estate agent before Google Maps?
No, I cannot. Right. No. I remember when I started dating after I divorced, I was like, oh my God, how do people go on dates? Like, where do you don't know where you're supposed to go? It's scary. It's scary going to meet a guy you've never met. And then like, you don't know where you are. You don't know your surroundings. You got to have Google Maps. Google Maps is a lifesaver.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, we don't know where Germany is. We think it might be an island or maybe a volcano.
In summary,
right.
We don't know where Germany.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry for everyone we just offended.
We think there's a chance Germany could be a continent, or an outside chance, a planet.
But we know you can surf there.
Yeah, right. We do know that.
It's also a lake. That's what we know about
a
Germany.
lake with big waves.
Yes.
Right.
And Mila can surf there. So good for her.
That's right.
So I guess moving back to Homecoming.
Yeah. Homecoming. They announced Tunde's ARM program, which
she was having the notes here, Tunde's arms, and I was like, I thought we already knew Tunde had arms.
We did, and they're amazing. But see, we talked about this when we talked about the Peloton Prophet told us details about the guide.
Right.
We had said, hey, there's going to be a Tunde arms program possibly dropping at Homecoming.
Ta-da.
Boom. That happened.
Right.
That happened. And people seem to be very excited about it. It actually dropped on Homecoming. Unlike everything else they talked about, it actually showed up that weekend. So then there were the Just Workout. That's you can now, apparently that is out on beta for some people, where you can do activities outside. You can ride your bike, you can run, you can walk. You just turn it on through the app and you're able to track your progress. This is very exciting for people who like to keep their blue dot streaks. Also, you can listen to your own music, which I feel like is super important.
Right.
There's
and
also
cheaper for Peloton.
Yes, yes, of course. There's also the invite friends that is coming soon. You'll be able to like schedule events. Like you'll be able to say, hey, let's take a Mela class together, a Mela class together, John, and we'll schedule it for 2 weeks from now. And we can invite all of our friends together. So we should do that.
Yes, we should. The Tunde's arm thing, that makes sense, right? Everybody talks about her physique and her arms and, you know, her classes relative to the arm section. So that all made sense. Like that'd be a cool selling point. But you know, it's kind of like the previous guide specific content. Once everyone found out that you could get a link and get to it without
wah, wah.
I hear people with the wah, wah, wah.
Why aren't they shutting that?
They want it to be exclusive.
Why aren't they shutting that down? I don't understand.
Because it's at the end of the day, it's still a link. I don't know that you can shut it down. I don't know. They have so much stuff that's open API. I don't understand why they choose to do the things they do. So I don't know. There's got to be a reason. I would like to think this is a well thought out reason.
But there's got to be a way to shut it down.
I'm sure there is.
You'd think.
I would. Maybe because of their platform issues they can't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe that's one of the things Barry didn't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe some talented individuals need to get on that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You think the guy from Netflix would know all about shutting down people sharing stuff?
That's
or maybe not.
Both are fair ways to look at that. There's also the new yoga inversion program. So John, I remember. I don't know how. See, this is
like upside down yoga.
Yes, it is. This is the problem with being a person who's been in Peloton land for a long time. Do you remember, John, when you and Megan Yarnell had a headstand battle going back and forth? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you don't even need this yoga inversion program, do you?
I wasn't very good at the whole inversion thing. And also back then when me and Megan were doing that, they didn't have the tread yet. And I was following Rebecca Kennedy. She wasn't a Peloton instructor yet. Yeah. And on her Instagram, she would always be doing these headstand things. Yeah. And I was always like, I could do that. Right. Like, you get older, you think you can do things like when you're younger. I can do that. And then I would try and I almost like busted a hole in the wall. So that's when me and Megan started trying to figure out like, well, how to.
But you guys both did it. I remember. And then I tried to do it. My videos never made it to the internet because no one needed to see that. Oh my God.
Eventually I figured it out. It took a while. It was scary though.
It was. It is.
Yeah,
yes.
It was scary.
And then there's the Peak Your Zones program for people who love the Power Zones. This is a new 8-week program using all of the Power Zone instructors. So lots of, and this is like not a simple program. There's lots of different classes. I think it was 3 different classes for 8 weeks. So 3 different classes every week for 8 weeks.
If there's one thing we know about fans of Power Zone, they don't like things to be simple.
It's true. It's true.
No,
they like
don't.
all the math, the complicated math.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what we were talking about in my group is Peloton like seeing what groups are doing and then refactoring like programs and things into
I would hope.
I do think so. I think it's a combination of that. And you know how they still have the Feature Friday thing over on the OPP, that thread that happens every Friday. And I know a lot of people put things that their groups have come up with. And so I can't tell you how many times I've seen Power Zone stuff, whether it be more programs or make sure that like you tell people what zone you're in. That's a big request that I see all the time. Things like that. So I would hope that they're reading. Yeah. Yes, that is something the Power Zone folks always want, more math.
It's like my nightmare. Hey, what if we took exercise and added trigonometry? Like, what's wrong with you people? You're all sociopaths.
Why would we do that?
Yeah.
And it's not even just exercise. It's cardio, which you hate more than just exercise.
How can we make exercise even more miserable?
It's like anti-Tom exercise.
Yes. We're going to add math, and the instructor will be your ex-wife.
Oh, don't make me laugh that hard.
love the Power Zone stuff, and I know it works. I did it.
Yeah,
I did
absolutely, it works.
It totally works, I'm sure.
Right. I had my FTP, and then I started doing, and it works. But I didn't like all the math stuff either. I didn't like managing to all the metrics. I didn't like it.
I think the downside about it is, and this is not a downside for everybody, it's just people like me. The downside is that you have to keep doing it. Like there's never a stopping point. And so it kind of sucks the fun out of writing because you constantly have to be pushing to the next level, the next level, the next level, or you lose some of your gains. And, you know, I just want to have fun. I don't want to work that. Like, it's not that I don't want to work hard. It's just I don't want that to be my only goal. And so it's excellent.
The fun is what keeps you coming back.
It is.
And there are a lot of people with power zones that the constant pushing is what keeps them coming back. And
exactly.
That is, I know lately people feel like we rip on Peloton, but that is the what's great about Peloton is that it works in so many different capacities for so many different personality types.
Exactly.
I remember when I first came to the community, I remember there was this guy that told me, he was like, you got to be able to motivate yourself. You don't need all that fun. You just need to work. Just grind it out. And I was like, no, that ain't me.
That's not me either, John.
I don't quite align to that.
It's like church, right? Like some people go to church where it's like very serious and buttoned up, and some people go to church where there's, you know, video screens and lasers, and some people go to church where they got live snakes. It's like, but it's all church.
That's right. That's right. What motivates you, whether it be church or exercise? You know, it's just whatever works for you.
Like Peloton, I don't go to church either.
No comment.
I had a guy hit me up once, and because I had posted my numbers, and he was like, oh no, I hadn't posted my numbers. He had noticed that I got off of a ride early. And
how dare you?
And he was like, oh well, I'm out here grinding it out, and you're taking a picture and you're leaving the class. And I'm like, okay, you know,
it's my ride,
I wanted to
dude.
go see my granddaughter. And it's my ride. So, you know, I'm probably going to get off 5 minutes early my next ride, too. You know, get used to it.
What a weirdo.
I know. But some people, it really bothers them. It's like we were interviewing somebody the other night. And I was like, and he was talking, he's really competitive on the leaderboard. And I was like, are you one of those guys, the guys that like rides for the last minute in the cool down? And he was like, Tom, is she going to judge me if I say yes?
And I was like, yes, she absolutely will. She's already judged you. And
it already has happened.
And I was like, the fact that you haven't answered this question is an answer to this question. We know.
But the thing is, I'm honestly not judging. There are people that really do get angry about that, but like I could care less. Like I don't even look at the leaderboard anymore. I'm like, I look at the leaderboard for me. Am I having fun? Am I accomplishing the goal I set out to accomplish today? But like I have long since given up. I'm not going to be in the top half. I'm not going to be in the top quarter. I'm just here having fun.
Now there was a time I was like, oh, I got a PR. Oh, I got another PR. Oh, there was a time.
There's stages of Peloton, and we are past that stage.
I'm long past that. That's a long time ago. Yeah. Don't be hitting me up about that stuff. I'll be like, all right.
See, I know it's different because it's tonal, but I never pay attention to that.
I know you don't. That drives me crazy because that is your own metric, which is why that drives me crazy.
She's like, oh, you got a PR. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but he doesn't take any pleasure in it.
The first time she said it, I was like, oh, is that what that noise means?
I'm like, of course that's what that noise. What do you mean? What does that noise mean? You've just been ignoring that noise this whole time?
I thought it was broke.
Why does this thing keep making this noise?
I thought it needed its oil changed or something. I don't know.
Damn it, you improved.
Honey, this thing keeps making this annoying noise.
Yeah. And I'm like,
you hit a PR.
You just improved.
I don't want to encourage her to get rid of things that make annoying noises or we will get divorced.
Oh my goodness.
But I see my mindset with tonal is like it adds weight when you get a little better. And I'm like, well, if you lift weight long enough, you're able to lift more weight.
Honey, like, that's literally everything ever. Like I don't know how many times I have to tell you that. Like if you keep doing it and you keep getting better, that's still something you freaking did. Be happy.
But I'm just like, but of course it happened. I don't know.
Oh my. This is our life, John. This is like real conversation.
But of course it happens. Why am I supposed to be surprised?
It's not surprise. It's pride, damn it. Be proud of your accomplishments. But no, he's not. All right, back to homecoming. They also added this disability feedback thing. And I am not using words very well. But Kristen Fleschner, many moons ago, back on episode 101, she was telling us about how Google Talk is available and that Peloton could use that to give more options for people who were disabled. Peloton has finally put that into place, or will be putting into place. I was not clear about the time frame of that, but in progress. So that is exciting. That's been a long time coming. And then this really, I was bummed about this. Maybe I'm the only person who is, but All for One is coming back as a music festival. And it's in August. So I'm bummed about this because it used to be in July for 4th of July, Independence Day. And it used to be all of the instructors. And now it's in August and it's a music festival. And I don't really care. I'm not excited. It was fun because it was all of the instructors. And now it's just like, it's just more music collaborations. I don't know why I'm supposed to be excited about that. It's not all for one. It's one person with some songs. Like, how is that all for one? Explain this to me.
That's a good point, because a lot of the excitement about the all for one is seeing instructor interactions. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and to see what the back and forth was going to be, and the order in which you were going to see them.
God, do you remember how
that was a lot of the fun.
You remember how fun it was to watch like the two different instructors get up and then they would leave and two more instructors would come out, and it was just so fun. And
it's like when Spider-Man partners up with the Fantastic Four.
Yes. You didn't know what was going to come out of like if they put Matt Wilpers and Robin Arzon up there, you're like, what on earth are they going to talk about? Like, that's just fascinating, right? And now it's just like, okay, well, Robin's up there doing her thing and Matt's doing his thing, but they're not doing their thing together. And I get that it's a lot harder to do with 54 instructors. So I'm not even like complaining that they can't do it that way, but I don't understand why we're still calling it the same thing, because it's not all for one anymore.
But there you go. You're right. They got like 873,000 instructors.
Right.
So you're right. I mean, yeah, I guess it would be tougher. I hadn't thought of that.
They would be like most for one.
Well, they could do it by country. They could do it by country and like have a German one and
oh yeah,
you know,
a sizable portion for one.
I mean,
how do it renamed it?
The lion's share for one.
They still need to rename it though, because All for One Music Festival isn't anything. It's a made up thing. It's just, it doesn't mean anything. What are we all for oneing? I don't even know what it means.
Isn't All for One a boy band?
I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know.
I think it might have been. Yeah, it was.
Really?
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe they're going to be in the list of songs.
Maybe.
Maybe we're on to something.
Well, we'll stay tuned.
I don't know about the all for one. It's like the percentage for one. I don't know what this is about to be. You're right.
Thank you. I appreciate the validation.
Some for one.
Also, can we talk about the glitches that happened over homecoming? So Tom, you might want to pull this up. I have permission to use this picture, but apparently there were a lot of people that like all of a sudden their picture was showing up on their trainer like they were the instructor.
That freaked me out.
Did it happen to you too? It happened to you too?
No, I didn't even. I was afraid to go to my bike and tread when I saw people start posting these pictures of their picture. I was like, what?
Yes, that's it. And so this is Mr. Cochran, not sure how to pronounce it, but this is him. And it showed up just like he took, and that is his profile picture, John. That is his profile picture on Instagram. That's his profile pic. So that's likely where that came from.
So do you think that's something that they were planning to do to surprise people, or like they're trying to figure out a way to where you could include your own photo with the Peloton stuff?
I don't know. Maybe it's still in progress and it just started like it accidentally happened. Somebody turned it on, left it on. This has happened before. I don't know what the heck they're doing.
The other thing that freaked me out when the first one I saw, I thought, is that their birthday down there? It turns out that was That was just a date that was placed on everyone.
Yeah, they all say 12/31/69. That's not saying how old everybody is, but yeah, that's weird.
Like,
it's so
that's
weird.
How old that person is?
And then the other big glitch that occurred, I felt like it was a glitch. So a lot of people had signed up for Homecoming, and then they were told nothing, like no emails occurred, no anything. Well, I kind of think that was an accident, because I went in the day of Homecoming that it started, and it showed it wasn't going to be starting for another 24 hours. And I was like, well, that can't be good. And a lot of people didn't get emailed it was happening until after the event was over. And I never did get an email, so I don't know what that's about. And then during the keynote address, everybody was told, and this was on the Homecoming website, hey, you can go to a store and get a memorabilia pin.
That's right.
From Homecoming.
Yes. Right.
So guess what? Yeah, you're not going to get one. You know why? There was a problem with the manufacturer. It's not going to happen. They just didn't bother to tell anybody.
When I saw that, I was actually planning to go to the West Hartford, Connecticut store to see if they had pins. I guess it's a good thing I didn't, because there were no pins.
There were no pins. Yeah.
So do you think they'll ever get pins? Because
No, the message, and it's also in the images. There's a message from customer service, and it says like, sorry, we had a problem. We're not getting them now. Just not happening. It's just not happening. Okay. Now, having said that, customer service has been wrong before. So yeah, I can't promise that won't ever happen, but customer service said it won't happen.
I just, in my head, I'm like, well, they probably already ordered pins. So I just figured they would, but maybe they didn't get them on time. And so they were like, F you, we're not paying for them. Cancel our pins.
It says, unfortunately, we had an issue with production and will not have Homecoming pins this year. Thank you for understanding.
Well, I guess they probably can't, even if they got them, like I don't know. Does anybody want a Homecoming 2022 pin now?
No. I mean,
I want it now that I can't have it.
They didn't even draw on it.
John, did you take any Homecoming classes this year? Like any actual classes? Okay, I didn't either.
I'm embarrassed to say no.
No, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed because the lineup was not exciting. But here's the deal. People that did, guess what? There's no Homecoming badge. No Homecoming badge. What the hell is happening?
Wow, the supply chain's even worse than I thought. You can't get digital badges anymore.
I mean, I just don't even understand.
Barry made an executive decision, get rid of badges.
But why?
Physical and digital.
He's like that guy that was telling you don't need motivation. You got to do it yourself.
That does seem in line with his demeanor.
In my day, we didn't have digital badges.
You know, you guys are onto something. This is a very Barry demeanor type of thing. It matches.
Badges?
It does. We don't need no stinking badges.
You sending badges to the showrooms? Cancel all that.
Okay,
you got digital badges? Cancel that.
I did not include it in my pictures, but also the email that came out spelled badges wrong. It was BAGES, not BADGES.
Badges?
Yeah.
Some badges?
In the email that went out to 150,000 billion people, it said,
no badges.
I mean, come on. Nobody's even spell checking. Like, what is happening? What is happening to Peloton?
You know, I like to think that Barry canceled the pins, and then he also canceled the badges, and nobody had the balls to tell him that it was a digital badge. Like they were like, well, sir, that's a digital badge.
Somebody started to raise their hand.
Yeah.
That would actually be hilarious. Hey, Tom, the link where it says also this glitch and it's Facebook, that is the link if you want to share that of badges being spelled wrong.
Hang on. Here we go.
I don't want no badge.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I thought I had it. Look, earn badges.
Earn some badges. Actually, now I want one because I don't know what it is.
Well, there it is. Now, this came out from the guide email, the recent guide email. But
actually, I believe it came out from the GID.
But so it had nothing to do with Homecoming because there were no badges for Homecoming. But the guide says you can earn badges, not badges. So
I don't know. I don't even know what to comment on about this.
I know.
I don't know.
I know. I hear you. And people were going into the app this weekend to use it.
Yeah.
Peloton ads came up in the app. An app for an ad for Peloton before they could use the Peloton app. Like what?
Wait a minute.
So where
you
does
pay a
that
subscription to the Peloton app?
Yeah.
And they're advertising
Yeah.
But you're
so
already
we
in
are
Peloton.
assuming that's a glitch. We're assuming. I mean, hell, I don't know. Maybe that's just how we live now. I don't know.
Where does it display in there?
So it was in the email too. That was. I don't know that I put it in my images. There were so many things for me to track, but it showed up and it said Peloton free 90-day trial, free trial. It was like, but I already own it. Like I pay for this now. So why would I want this? Yeah.
Well, does this mean that we're about to start getting more advertisements that go broader than Peloton?
I don't know.
That was my question, because it's like you have to create ad inventory to be able to display the wrong ad, or you wouldn't have a place to show ads at all.
Also fair. And that is what the original person said. Like, is this just what we get now?
Like, it almost seems like they were creating that ability and they used one of their own ads as a placeholder.
And maybe that is what it is.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Don't know.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Barry's got to move it fast. Uncle Barry's got.
But I don't know if we're going forwards or backwards, John. I don't know. Because let me tell you another thing. That happened this week. Yeah. Okay, you know Little Guy Front and Back?
Oh, yeah. I like Little Guy Front. Well, at least I like the name.
Yeah. Well, me too.
My Little Guy Front Back, it looks weird.
Well, here's the deal. Check this out. It may not be because of your workouts. So I was having a conversation with somebody who shall remain nameless. And they were telling me that no matter what they do, they cannot get their upper body to glow blue, like at all. They did nothing but upper body workouts for 3 days in a row. And they had barely any light blue. And then finally on the fourth day.
They got my problem.
And now keep in mind, there was zero lower body during that 3 days. Now, on the fourth day, they took a 10-minute arms and it went to medium blue. So they were like, solved it. And then they took a 20-minute walk, wiped it out completely. Only the lower body was showing. That can't be right. Like that.
Something's wrong with the algorithm here. Or maybe it's taking pictures and it's like, you really need to do a lot of. No, dude, you need more. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't either, but these are all things. I mean, I have been inundated with people have been so confused this week about what is happening, like to our badges, to our spelling checks, to our Little Guy Front and Back, to there's no badges for homecoming. Like what is happening? So it's a lot of confusion. And I realize for people who are new, this is business as usual and you're not that concerned. But for those of us who have been around for a long time, there's a certain level of professionalism we expect, and this is not it. It is not cutting the muster. Is that how you say that?
Yes, it's muster, not mustard.
And I did say muster.
You did. Yeah.
So don't at me, people. Don't at me.
I'm glad you said. I might have said mustard. Okay.
I would have forgotten.
I don't know. I think Uncle Barry's, they're just moving fast.
I don't know.
I think they're moving. I think they're trying stuff. They're moving fast, and I think we're seeing the effects of it.
That could be.
That's Layman John giving like his thought.
Well, they did fire a lot of people, so maybe there were a lot of people that made sure things happened correctly, and now those people are gone. So
that could be.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, it's just more people doing more work, or less people doing more work.
Fewer people to double check and proofread, and it happens.
Right.
It could just be that simple, but it is definitely disconcerting. So.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah.
No badges for the homecoming classes. That's a little different.
It is.
I had intended to do a homecoming class, but I didn't, and I thought that's horrible. What year has passed where I did not do any class on homecoming? That's got to be weird.
But there was no hype about it. There was no email.
That's what you got me thinking. It makes me wonder now. Was I not the only one?
You were not the only one. We had a whole thread going in the Clip Out group about people that were like, well, I was going to participate and then I didn't even know it started. And then I didn't get any emails about it. And then I couldn't figure out where I was even supposed to go for all the panels and things like that. They knew where to go for the classes. But then the classes weren't labeled as homecoming. So that confused people. And it just kind of seemed bleh. Deflated. I heard the things that I kept hearing from people were lack of energy, no hype, just a general quietness that we have not seen around homecoming. Even last year when it was virtual, there was a lot more hype than there was this year. So I don't think it's just because it was a virtual event. I don't think that's all that was going on.
You know what I did do this year that I didn't do last year?
What's that?
I finally did the member meets.
How did those go? Everybody loved those last year. I didn't hear so much about them this year, but I heard people kept freezing up and not being able to speak. But yours went well?
I heard that from a few people this year too, that they had problems getting in. And I had a little bit of a problem getting in as well. Like my computer was telling me there's no mic, there's no video. And I had to shut it all down and I had to go back in. So I had a slight problem. But yeah, I've heard others had other issues. But once I got in, it was kind of cool. I met like 4 or 5 people doing the little chat thing, and one guy was in North Carolina, and he was like out on his porch. That was, country dude just talking to me. It was cool.
That's fun.
I loved it.
That's fun.
It was awesome.
I think we need to figure out a way to amplify that type of moment.
Yeah.
If we're going to continue down this road of virtual events, and I would have liked to have seen the Peloton instructors do more than an occasional member meet. It would have been nice to have a little bit more interaction. And also, I just think instructors should just not post about past homecomings anymore. It just made me sad.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, the past homecomings were just that's a different thing.
Yeah.
We just ain't there no more.
Nope.
Different time.
It is different times. Yeah.
There was a guy in my group last year on our clubhouse. He came into the clubhouse. This is last homecoming. He came into the clubhouse. We were talking on a Saturday, and he's like, I did a whole bunch of member meets, and every time I went into a member meet, I asked them if they want to do burpees with me.
I remember that guy, the burpee guy. I totally remember the burpee guy.
That is the weirdest thing I ever heard of. Did they do the burpees? And he was like, yeah, some of them did. Some of them thought I was weird. So this past Saturday, I go, is that guy on the call? We're doing another clubhouse. I'm like, guy on the call? Did you ask him to do burpees again? He comes up. He was like, yeah, but this year we did Peloton Jeopardy. So he had like a whole game set up.
Oh my God.
When he went into the member meets, and he was asking them questions for 300. Like he was asking them questions. It's the craziest thing. Ever since he said that, I've like 3 or 4 people have hit me up. Was like, yeah, I got that guy. It was so much fun. I'm like, he was having more. It sounds like he was setting up a lot of fun for these people in that member.
Yeah, he's super memorable. I have no idea what his name is off the top of my head, but I know last year, and I bet this year too, everybody remembered him who interacted with him. He is setting the bar high for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Or just like, hello.
I thought that was pretty cool. It sounds like something like you could like add to the equation. Like maybe Peloton should think of something.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, there's an idea.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Awesome. Well, John, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, where can people find you?
They can find me in my Facebook page or group, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on Instagram, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on the Tickety Talk, Run, Lift, and Live, or they can find me at runliftandlive.com.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
John.
much.
Cool. Nice to see you guys. Talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Instructors in the news.
Aditi Shah went to the White House.
She did. She was celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Month at the White House. How incredibly exciting. And look who she got to meet.
Yeah, she got to meet the vice president.
How cool is that? Yeah. That's so exciting. And she looked beautiful. She was all dressed up, and she filmed from in the car before she got there. And then she filmed when she got there, which I'm so glad she did. That was really nice of her to share that with everyone. It's really cool.
Builtin.com. Don't know what that is, but apparently they're uniting people in tech.
Sure.
According to their slugline.
I'm sure that they are.
Yes.
But they also had an article called How Passion and Teamwork Brought Emma's Listening Party Content Series to Life for Peloton. So, Emma has a background as a DJ. also as a dancer. And so when she came to Peloton, she was super into music, and she was able to bring all of those pieces with her. And that technology that they talk about in the article is what led to being able to have that listening party series on Peloton. Pretty cool.
So Becs Gentry was in London doing something secret.
Yeah, she was talking about it on Instagram Live. She was like, I made it to London. She was like, I was just at the studio. It's beautiful. And I can't share what it was about. So I thought maybe it's for that All for One event that's going to be in August. I know it seems like a long way away,
but I guess if you want her to do something while she's in London, you know, like if she happened to be there anyway, you go ahead and knock it out.
Exactly. And so many people, you got to work around everybody's vacation schedules and things.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't know what it was about, but it made me wonder if it was that.
No, that seems fair. So Kendall was at an Aloha event.
Yeah, I really don't know what this is about. And you're going to have to forgive me because my head is just pounding. But it was called the Aloha event. It was sponsored by Kendra Scott, like it was her event. And it was also sponsored by Spiritual Gangster. And Kendall was talking about mental health while she was there. She did a whole speech, and she was featured on the Spiritual Gangster page. She was featured on Instagram. They were talking about it. So I know that it was a lot of exposure for her and a good opportunity. Other than that, I don't know much.
And we have a couple of quick Allie love stories. She was featured in Modern Luxury's top 100 social media creators of 2022.
Yep. She was in the top 100 content creators, I'm sure because of her week-long wedding, because, you know, she did that whole thing.
Sure.
And so I'm sure that was why. But pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to be honored.
And then also Slash Film, which is more something from my world, had an article about Netflix making plans for live streaming unscripted shows and stand-up specials. And Allie Love's upcoming dance show, Dance 100, was featured in the article.
Yes.
Peloton in the news.
So Peloton, who according to their new CEO is thinly capitalized, decided to go looking for people to give them some money or lend them some money.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week that it was on the earnings call, but it seems that it's like, I think the news here, if I'm interpreting it correctly, is that there's lots of people that went in on it.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted to give them money or loan them money. I should say they're not giving them money.
They're not giving them money, correct. And then Peloton has to pay on that interest. So it's just interesting.
Yeah.
And then kind of along those lines, that's where this article is coming from too. It's like 2 times the order book of the $750 million that they asked for.
Right.
So I just I don't really know what this means. And by that, I'm like, does that mean that they borrowed more than they were planning
I don't know if that means that they went ahead and took it, but maybe it does. But I think it also says for all the Peloton is dying, when people sure wanted to be in the Peloton business when they got the chance. So
yeah, it is interesting how many people jumped all over that, given how the market is saying it's no good. So it's kind of an interesting. Brain doesn't work when I have a migraine.
It's counterintuitive from the narrative we're hearing in the financial press that they're dying on the vine, but if somebody's dying and they want $750 million, you say no, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that.
You don't say here's $750 plus I'll give you another $750.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of people with deep pockets think that there's a lot of money to be made with Peloton still.
That's what I'm trying to say.
There's an article from foodcuisine.com about Peloton and booze delivery perks for congressional House staffers is drawing flack from the GOP.
And I saw this showing up on some crazy news sites that are not, let's just say, legit.
Right.
So I don't want this to turn into a political discussion whatsoever. But it is turning into one. It is, and I thought that in and of itself was interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not really specifically about Peloton that's the issue. It's about that some certain people don't have to pay for certain perks.
Right.
That is the issue.
And I think that from my general reading of the article, it seems like being mad about people basically having access to the Peloton app for free as part of their job. And that doesn't seem controversial to me. That seems like that's becoming a more and more frequent occurrence. And so that doesn't seem crazy. The idea that you can have liquor delivered as part of your job, yeah, I'm going to say that seems odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, unless you work for Anheuser-Busch, which even they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, so it's...
Remember back in the day they did that,
Yeah,
though?
like anybody that works for AB got like a case of beer a week or whatever, yeah. But yeah, like I don't think it's crazy to be like, why can you have not only get liquor, but have it delivered to your office? Like that seems like, I mean, is this... Do you live in an episode of Mad Men? What is happening? That seems odd.
It does. So I'm sure there will be more to that.
I have no doubt. And speaking of employers providing people access to Peloton, here's an example of that. We had someone reach out to us that said that Pfizer does that, and you can get a special badge.
Yeah, so
a Pfizer exclusive badge.
So in other words, you have to be a Pfizer employee. That is the only way you can get this very special Peloton badge.
Yes.
And it shows how many minutes you had. In this case, in the month of May, you had to work out for 400 minutes to get this badge. I was super fascinated by this because I'm sure there are other companies doing this as well.
Sure.
And it makes me wonder if they have to pay for that privilege. But it never occurred to me that there might be badges out there that the average person could not get.
Right.
So like it's impossible to be 100% on badge collection from this moment forward.
Right. Unless you just can't hold a job.
That's true.
That's one way to do it, I guess. Yeah. But and if you want to see that badge, we are showing it on the screen if you go to our YouTube channel. So there's a shameless plug.
Yeah. And it looks generic enough that I bet they're reusing it.
That's my guess, too.
Mm-hmm.
CFO Jill Woodworth sold 4,530 shares of her Peloton stock.
Yep, and it netted her $71,000.
Do we make anything of that? It seems like an odd time to sell. It's basically an all-time low.
I don't know what to make of it. It was disclosed. Obviously, it wasn't a big secret.
Yeah.
You have to legally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
She still owns 6,500 shares. It's not like she got rid of them all. But I did think it was strange that she was doing it now. But for all we know, it was like she's getting ready to buy a house, or she's got kids she's sending to college, or who knows. But I'm sure people will make something out of it, whether it is something or not.
They always do. Hyatt Hotels is test piloting a program where you can rent a private gym, and that private gym will include a Peloton bike.
Yeah, right now they have it in 5 of their U.S. hotels, and it costs $25 for an hour. You're able to get not only the Peloton bike, but you also can get a pre-core treadmill, hint, hint, workout mats, stretch bands, foam roller, medicine balls, stability balls, and hand weights. And they're saying that if it's successful, they will be expanding, and I'm sure it will be successful. So I think we'll be seeing a lot more of this.
It's interesting because they're using unused rooms, hotel rooms. Like it's not a different area or a section of the gym. They're actually taking unused hotel rooms and setting up the equipment in there.
Yeah, personally, I would rather just have it in my room. So I don't know why they're not doing that.
I don't know.
I guess because more people can use it, but then they can clean it and keep it.
They don't have to keep moving it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And because if it's $25 an hour, like you can rent it 8-10 times a day, maybe even more, depending on what time of day you want to work out. So like I could see at a conference that, like you could make your money back pretty quickly, and I also think that this really could take off because you figure if people are used to using connected fitness equipment, and obviously Peloton is the industry leader in that, and you're on the road, like the idea of going into a hotel gym is daunting. Like I know as someone who does tonal, the little bit I travel for work, the idea of going into the hotel gym by myself, hard pass.
Yeah.
But if it was like I could rent a room and use a tonal,
you would totally do that.
I would totally go do that for $25.
Yep.
Wouldn't even think twice.
I agree. I think this will definitely catch on.
So I think this is smart because, like I said, you are creating a whole new class of people that want to work out but don't want to go to the gym. And if they don't want to go to a regular gym, they don't want to go to your hotel gym. And this is a way to, one, not only offer something for those people, but also monetize those people.
Mm-hmm.
Peloton is donated to the Steve Fund and IPSO.
Yep. And it's going to be $25,000. And then people are asking if we had to borrow money, how did we come up with the money for that?
I mean,
it's a fair question.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. But I think all companies are borrowing money at some point. You know what I mean? Like,
also fair.
They have revolving
credit. But they already had a revolver. So this was in addition to.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't matter. The point is, it's.
I get the point. But also, these things are also marketing arms. And so it's to, and
it hits different on your bottom line.
Yeah. So it's, while I get why people can say that, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, in all fairness. See, we don't just rip on Barry.
Peloton in court.
Much to everyone's surprise, Peloton and iFit have kissed and made up.
They sure have.
And they both dropped all pending litigation, and they're besties now.
Hallelujah.
So I guess it's interesting because it seems like this litigation over the last couple weeks, a month or so, it just felt like it was losing steam from all sides concerned. And then, then now both sides are just like, you know what, never mind.
Well,
and
both sides are losing major money, not only because of this lawsuit, but just the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of feel like they both were just like, you want to just stop?
Yeah.
Like, neither of us are going to win.
And they both gave up something, I guess, so they can look like they won. So iFit is disabling certain functionalities on its leaderboard, and Peloton will pay to license something that has to do with remote controls. So everybody lost a little, everybody won a little.
And we can all move on.
Yeah.
So there's that. We all win too.
But I've got that really cool lawsuit sweeper.
Oh, don't worry. There's plenty more where that came from.
I have no doubt someone will sue them soon. That's the way of the world.
I think there's still like 8 unsettled lawsuits out there. Don't worry. More to come.
In case you missed it.
Ben and Leanne have a ride to goal.
Nope, that's like from 3 years ago. That was the whole point. From 3 years ago, this thing happened. It was called Ride to Gold back in, I guess, 2018. Okay. I don't even know when it happened, but it was a long time ago. The point is that those same people that were in the Ride to Gold, which are the Kinneys, they have won 12 Olympic gold medals between the two of them, Jason and Laura Kenny. And they were knighted over in the UK.
Oh, how about that?
They were awarded honors. So that was just kind of a neat kind of callback to an event that Peloton had done that included them. So just kind of bringing it full circle for people. Sorry for the confusion.
That's okay. People expect me to get things wrong.
Better you than me.
Peloton artist collaboration.
And there's a new artist series, this time featuring Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. This is I love this show.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be great, and I can't wait to see all of the different classes and who will be teaching them. And it's perfect for Mental Health Awareness Month.
Absolutely.
Peloton birthdays.
We only have one birthday this week, and it's Christian
Van Velde.
Van de Velde.
I don't know exactly how you say it, but he is considered a guest instructor. He has won a whole bunch of awards in the pros, and he has been, he's taught a ton of classes at Peloton, a lot of which don't exist anymore. But for those people who have been around in the Peloton world for a long time, you know about his classes, and he used to come in and teach them live. Now we just are lucky enough to have some on demand, and maybe someday he'll be able to teach some more classes in his studio.
And his birthday is May 22nd, if you're keeping score at home.
Happy birthday.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Peter Shankman, past guest returning. Hi, how's it going?
Hello.
Good to be back, guys. Good to see you guys.
So here's how long ago it's been. You were on episode 46. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that because it's seared in your memory.
I'm sure.
Without question. Yeah. My ADHD self did all the research. Yeah.
That's why I made you all wait so I could look that up. And so,
yeah, that sounds right, Tom.
So I just thought this was interesting. So when you were on last time, we didn't do video at the time. We were just audio.
Back in the day.
The big story of the week.
What was it?
Some rides had gone missing.
Oh, no.
So I think it was the first purge.
Oh, no. How far we've come.
The one with Ethan Hawke.
Jesus Christ. If only if it was that easy.
Yeah.
Now our CEO has gone missing.
Right. All the rides were in black and white.
Yeah, I learned some interesting stuff over the past, 4 or so years.
Yeah. What did you learn?
Well, for starters, I learned that my daughter's teachers have all lied to me. She is not a pleasure to have in class. That's number one. No, it's been crazy. I mean, I remember last time I saw you guys at like the first home rider invasion.
Yeah.
And you guys had a little booth there and I was giving a talk. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. I point to Peloton as the day the world shut down because I got invited. I brought my girlfriend to the first of 2 media rides to open the new studio on 10th Avenue. And it was a 7:45 ride or 8:15 ride. And I got there and she and I took the ride and we met the CEO and we hung out with Ali Love and all that. And we walked out. This is on 10th Avenue and like 30th Street or whatever. Walked out at, I guess, 9:45, 10 o'clock. And the streets were empty. It was Thursday, March 12th. It was the day that the city shut down.
Wow.
To the point where they didn't have the second media ride. They canceled it. And so I think that studio is now that was March 12th, 2020. So in over 3 years, I'm one of 40 people to ever have taken a ride in that new studio. But yeah, I look at that as the day the world shut down. I remember her school shut down my daughter's school shut down the following day. And that started, for me, it was brutal. I mean, I traveled 300,000 miles a year and then that just went to zero. And that's like going from 120 miles an hour to zero with no seatbelt on. That was really tough for me.
Yeah.
The bike helped. I'm not gonna lie. The bike saved me a lot. I'd be on that thing. I was riding that thing sometimes for 4 hours a day at some point.
Wow.
But it was, it was tough. Take someone with massive ADHD and take away basically the only 2 things they have that center them, which is travel and speaking. And just say, okay, those are both gone. Have fun. And by the way, here's your kid with you pretty much half the week, a little more than half the week with her mom the other half. It was a massive adjustment. A lot of Legos. So I turn the camera around. I can show you the Saturn V, the 16,900 piece Saturn V that we built.
So does your kid do the same thing? I don't know if this is just our kids thing or like they do the homework and then they don't turn in the homework.
Yeah. Do you ever have that?
She turns in the homework, but the go-to phrase for her is, I don't get it. I'm like, I just explained it to you. And I watched you do it with the teachers when I came to pick you up. Right. But I don't understand it. I'm like, okay, that's why you're supposed to tell the teachers. And so we'll walk through it again and she'll get it. And she'll be like, oh, like you got it in the beginning, didn't you? She's like, well, and I'm waiting for her to say, yeah, it was just easier for you to do it. So,
because that's what she's thinking.
Yes.
Definitely my kid. There's
She's Tom Sawyer. You just painted her fence.
She's definitely my kid. There's zero question about that whatsoever.
Yeah, ours are always like, I uploaded it, but I didn't hit send.
I'm like,
what? How do you upload and not hit?
I remember telling my math tutor that my cleaning woman, my parents' cleaning woman must have thrown it out. Of course, the math tutor told my parents that, and my parents said, if you're gonna lie, at least pick dates that the cleaning woman comes.
like
on Wednesdays.
Plan a little bit with your lie.
Yeah, like if you're gonna lie, just work on it. Get that. We're not angry. I mean, we're angry at you for lying, but we're more angry at you for being a shitty liar.
Like it's the laziness behind the lie.
And pick better lies. No one has sympathy for a child who has
a cleaning woman,
a cleaning lady.
Oh, poor baby.
I remember picking the school that she's at, and she's at a great school. Don't get me wrong; they're a phenomenal school. They're a bit much for me, but it's a great school. I was a public school kid in New York City, right? And so the fact that she's in a private school in New York kind of blows my mind. I'm still not 100% okay with it, but it's a great school. They treat her well. But like, I tried to pick out of all the private schools, I tried to pick the one where she was least likely to come home and ask, Daddy, why don't we have a jet? But I'll never forget June of 2020. I'm sitting at home and my cell phone rings and I answer it. It's one of her friend's parents who I guess become friends with over the past year and hadn't talked to her in like 4 or 5 months. And she's the daughter of a very famous, now dead musician. So it's a different world. And she's like, hey, how are you and Jessa doing? I'm like, doing what we can. We go to the playground. Central Park's open. We do that. And I sort of go, oh, you're writing this out in the city. To yes, Karen, we don't all have 3 fucking homes. I said, where are you? And she goes, oh, well, we're in LA. I said, oh, how are you able to, that's a tough, I wouldn't want to go on a plane and you left in March. I wouldn't want to go on a plane in late March. Well, no, one of my dad's best friends is this huge band that and they didn't tour. So we just borrowed their bus and we made it a fun
I knew that's what you were going to say. I was like, they took a tour bus.
Goodbye. I have to hang up the phone before I It's been tough. And
it's not like LA was safer. Like it was just as bad there.
No, like when you have a mansion, you never have to leave. I guess it becomes easier.
They got a mansion in New York. They're not fooling me.
Like there's the one in the Hamptons that our former CEO just bought for $50 million.
Well, he's trying to unload it. Yeah.
That's from what I heard.
Are you gonna buy it?
Oh yeah, I'm second in line. No, I'm currently dealing with the fact that I had a company called Stanley Steamer come out to clean my floors. Yeah. And there's a TikTok or a Instagram reel currently going out that shows someone's messed up, and the voiceover is, I guess, a comic who goes, how do you manage to get a job and everything? Right? They use 10 times the amount of water they should for my type of floor. And within 3 hours, the floor started buckling. And within 24 hours, they were more warped than Back to the Future timelines. So yeah, I'm in the process of suing them. I'm going to have to move out of the apartment for 2 weeks with the kid, pack everything up.
Oh my God.
I am not a happy camper right now.
You should call your friends with the tour bus and see if you can live on the tour bus for 2 weeks.
There you go. Tour bus for a couple of weeks, and that's what all the cool parents do. No, it's insane. But
so what do your neighbors below you think of the
God.
No, it didn't affect them. It did not affect them. What it did, the water got into the wood and it warped the wood.
And it just stayed there.
I had a bunch of dehydrating machines in here to dry everything out for like up 2 weeks, but thank God it didn't affect below. And the company's insurance is paying for this. I'm not getting involved with my insurance. This is their fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally, you have one job. It's not like I hired cake decorators to clean my floors. These guys are floor cleaners. That's literally
that's their whole purpose.
But the floor was clean. I mean,
one way to put it.
Yeah.
In the same way that if you run a laptop through your washing machine, it's a laptop's gonna be cleaner.
Right.
I don't know if it's gonna work. Yeah. So that was pretty much it.
I didn't know you could break a floor.
Thank you. Right? If anyone could break a floor, it would happen in my apartment. No, it's look, I know it's not that. Some people argue it's not the right way to think, but my logic is, look, I'm very lucky, right? I still have a place to live. I have a kid who's doing well. My parents are still healthy. 3 blocks away. They got through COVID. There are people a lot worse.
Absolutely.
Right? And I know that that's out there. So I'm not complaining per se, but oh my God. Yeah, people are.
So, okay, you still have your Peloton bike. Are you gonna take it with you when you move out for a couple of weeks?
I have to pack everything up. So yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll put me up at a hotel where there's a Peloton already. But it's been a weird thing. So I got rid of the tread. I love the tread. But it was taking up a lot of space in the apartment, and I was running outside more and more. And so I tried to sell it, and I'm like, why don't I see anyone selling the tread? And I goes, oh, it's illegal to sell a recalled machine.
Right.
Wait, and so I kept looking. I'm like, Peloton will take it back and they'll refund me. And this is kind of like I had a tread for 3 years for free. Yeah. And so that's exactly what I did. And I'm still on the bike religiously, but I'm training for the marathon. So I'm outside. I'm running outside now. My thing was, I was actually selected in February of 2020 to do the Ironman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii. And I know you're confused because you're looking at me and going, Peter, look at you. You watch the movie Iron Man while eating popcorn on your fat ass in the couch. But no, I really was selected to do Ironman Kona. For the uninitiated, that's it's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a full 26.2 mile marathon. And
all in one day, like for people who do not know.
Yeah. 17 hours. And I've done 2 Ironman before. And I'm like, this is awesome. I was selected by Leukemia Lymphoma Society. I'm like, great. I'm going to raise a ton of money. Waffle, shut up. And so his name is Waffle. And so, so I raised over $100,000 for these guys, right?
Nice.
Which was I was really proud of myself, whatever. And then the 2020 Ironman Kona gets canceled. And they're like, okay, they're going to do it again in 2021. So I keep training another 12 months. I'm swimming, biking, running, 100-mile rides up to the Bear Mountain and back. 2021 is canceled. And it's just talk about having the rug pulled out under you, just having your heart ripped out. So I'm supposed to do it in 2022. And I wanted to do it before I'm 50. I'm turning 50 this August, so I won't make it. I'm just like, I just don't have it. I don't have the mojo. So I called Leukemia Lymphoma. I'm like, hey, I raised $100,000 for you. Can I just switch? Can you just give me a New York City Marathon spot? And they're like, absolutely. Don't worry about it. Of course, then they came back. It's like, all you have to do is raise $10,000. I'm like, it's a good cause. Take my $100,000. I need to with, but okay. Better save a bunch of lives. So I'm gonna be doing the New York City Marathon this year in November, with the premise of doing it for leukemia lymphoma, and it'll be good because you can train for a marathon, and I'll do a couple of half Ironmans this summer. Half 70.3s. You can train for that without having to kill yourself, without having to devote your entire life to it.
Yeah,
I just couldn't in good faith. I mean, going out at 6 a.m. and dropping my daughter off at my mom's so I could do a 6-hour bike ride. I don't want to do that again this summer.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. Time with her. She started running as well. Jessa now runs with me. I get her up to a mile and a half on a run. So
also
get 5K before the end of the summer. Yeah.
You can hopefully start traveling this summer. So there's that.
I've been on the road. I've been on the road already. I just got back from a keynote in South Africa, and I have a lovely woman I've been dating for a couple of years now who works in high-end luxury travel marketing. And so, I'm trying to, when I score a keynote somewhere, we try to make it so I'll score the keynote and she can go to the same place and have meetings, whatever. And, we'll wind up in some $10,000 a night lodge in South Africa that we don't have to pay for. So, it's nice, but
it's a win-win.
It's fun, but I've been on the road. Yeah. I'm starting to get back to it. I have 3 keynotes this month in April in Honolulu, in Montana, and in Montreal. So it's starting to come back. It's a nice feeling.
And you were giving your friend shit about living in a tour bus, traveling to LA in a tour bus?
That's a little different. That was 2.5 years ago.
Because it's their life, not yours.
It's like, well, from where I sit, it looks pretty the same.
Let's be honest. Every conference room looks the same, whether you're in Boise or Bangkok. Let's be honest.
We were just at a hotel that was really bad.
It was so bad.
We booked it by accident. We did not know where we were staying. And it's like, it's like, oh, hourly rates. We didn't know. We could have just.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it was pretty close.
What's the line for Pretty Woman? I have been in this place, but they do rent rooms by the hour.
Exactly. So when the studios open back up, are you heading back over? Are you going to be?
Oh, I'll show up. Yeah. I mean, I am still a huge fan of the brand. I'm still a huge fan of the product. Unfortunately, I'm a little too much of a fan of the stock. I didn't sell anywhere near as much as I should have when it was at 175. But yeah, I still love the product. I'm still a huge fan of the bike. The bike has gotten me through some serious shit. There's no question about it. It got me a ton faster on my races. I love the concept. I love the product. I think there was a ton of bad ideas, bad suggestions, bad management. Not blaming one specific person, right? It happens. I've seen that. I worked at America Online, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Right. I was there in the mid 90s when AOL was the internet. And 5 years later, they're like, now we own Time Warner. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? So no, I've seen that. I don't blame any one person per se, but I still believe there is a very strong case for, especially for someone like me who's massively ADHD, for rolling out of bed in my bike shorts and shirt and rolling on to the Peloton. I mean, that is literally how I work out. If I have to think about it, I will not work out.
Yeah.
I will come up with a reason. Okay, I'm going to go to the gym after work today. That's 5 o'clock. I read that there's a meteor orbiting Pluto. Just to be safe, I'm going to head home. So if the alarm goes off and I'm in my bike shorts and bike shirt, or bike shorts and socks, and the bike is literally three inches, a foot from my bed. I roll onto it. I slip my feet in and I just start pedaling. Within 2 minutes, I'm not getting off the bike. I'm on.
Right.
And that has gotten me more workouts than anything else in the world. So I still am a very big fan of the concept. I'll be curious to see what this new thing they just announced a couple of days ago, the
guide.
The guide.
died. I'll be curious to play with that a little bit. Do I need another device sitting next to my Oculus and my Nintendo Switch and my all this crap that I'm gonna have to pack up and put in boxes to move to the floors? Do I need another? I don't know, but it looks interesting. Looks interesting.
Okay.
So we'll see.
And there's always the outside chance that it will become incredibly dangerous and they'll take it back for free.
Now, look, I got to tell you, to this day, I am on Team Peloton on that side. I'm on the Peloton side for that one. Look, I think it's a tragedy that anyone was injured.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
And that's why we'll say that. I'm not making light of that. This treadmill, I am not a small man, and it can move me at very high speeds. If it can move something like me, not a small man, at very high speeds, just the premise that it could do that should be enough to tell you, hey, maybe don't let your kid run around on it.
Right.
It equates to the concept of it's a cup of coffee. Yes, it's going to be very hot. You don't need to have a sign on it that says this is a cup of coffee that's very hot in order to not get sued. I had an issue with that. But, look, things happen. I think that it was, the irony is, and this is what kills me now, for as good as COVID, for lack of a better word, was for Peloton, if COVID never happened, stock would still be right around where it is.
Yeah.
The only reason everyone's complaining and saying, oh my God, it's terrible, is because of how far it went. It's like you go out on one date with the prom queen and then she dumps your ass. How do you equate to that? Right? Everyone else, it's a pretty horrible example, but you get the general idea of what I'm saying. You have the best filet mignon in the world, and then you go to an Arby's, it's not the same thing. Right? You've already, you fly private. You can't go back to coach.
Right? Absolutely.
So they blew up. They blew up like anything, like unexpected. And of course the stock rise. Now the stock's at a normal place. It was like, oh, this company sucks. No, it doesn't. It's exactly where they were, where they should have been.
Now, how about the rower when it gets announced in May? Are you going to get the rower?
So you can't see it, but right here I have a Hydro.
Oh, okay. And so you're
because I bought the Hydro about a year ago because there was just no announcment, no guidance whatsoever on Peloton's rower. If Peloton does come out with a rower, I would get rid of the Hydro and move back to the family. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to pay double. Yeah, fees.
Why pay the extra monthly fee?
Right.
Yeah, I love the Peloton tread, and even the bike and even the tread were solid pieces of equipment. So I have no doubt that the rower would be the same thing. So yeah, I would consider selling the Hydro and getting the rower.
It ought to be solid as long as they've worked on it.
We said the same thing about New Coke. That was a 5-year project, but
that wasn't the product's fault because it won taste test. That was a marketing problem.
Well,
but it beat Pepsi in every taste test. Beat Pepsi and Coke.
At the end of the day, I think that there's so much pressure on these guys right now that it needs to be the situation that Peloton needs to come out and say, look, we appreciate all the feedback. We just don't give We're going to do exactly what we're going to do. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we don't need, 55 different, advisory groups telling us what we think we should do. We're just going to do what we know how to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the beginning, that really worked.
I would appreciate if they did that. I would appreciate. They need to focus. What story I relate this to? It's my favorite story. They started believing their own press. COVID hit, they started blowing up, they started believing their own press. And they took that own press to make tremendous bets on supply chain, which didn't fall through and wasn't needed. When I sold my one of my first companies, a help reporter out, it was acquired by Pure Newswire, and we made the announcement. And I came home the next day because it was announced in DC, and I stayed overnight. And I was in DC. I was coming back into my apartment. I lived on 57th Street at the time, and I was coming back in that night or that morning. I'm in the elevator, going into my apartment. For the first time in my life, it sunk in that I just sold this company for a lot of money. And I remember I'm sitting in the elevator. I got some money. I did this thing. For the first time in my life, I started to believe my own press. I walked in my apartment, and I had 2 cats at the time, Karma and NASA. And I'd leave them alone for 3 or 4 days at a time. They were fine, just leaving food and water. Well, at some point, I had a 25-pound bag of dried food, sealed bag, and apparently Karma and NASA, one of the 2, had clawed their way in. And they'd both eaten as much dried food as they could, drank as much water as they could, and then puked it out on the hallway entry hallway rug, and then proceeded to do this at least 9 times a piece over the course of 24 hours. So the story I tell is my first 3 hours as a quote unquote millionaire was on my knees scrubbing cat puke out of the carpet. And to this day, I believe it was supposed to happen. That was the universe saying, hey, great job. Stay
humble. The cat's name was Karma, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, that's not sending you a message. I don't know what is.
And here's another thing. You also were better at cleaning floors than the company you hired.
I should have done it myself.
Yeah,
exactly.
I smell a new company.
No, the new company idea I have right now is a dance class for dads who don't want to look terrible in TikToks with their daughters. Because I am in the process of I've done a bunch of them, and I have some rhythm, but comparative to like the one, like she'll see the ones with like the professional, Dancing with the Stars guy and his kid.
Right.
She's like, Dad, learn this and do it. So I'll learn it. I'll do it. And by all rights, it doesn't suck. And then she'll look at mine and she'll look at the one with the. No, Dad, it's good. That's what he does for a living.
Give me a break, kid.
At your funeral, the TikTok video is what they're playing, right?
Oh, for sure.
I'm a bigger fan of Instagram Reels, but yeah, it's the same premise. I mean, I've done a bunch of Instagram Reels that have actually blown up. Instagram, I'm just Peter Shankman, and they've blown up because I think that, again, it's just one of those I don't give a shit. I'm having fun with them. If they blow up, great. If they don't, I don't care. I'm gonna be 50 in August, and I don't really care what people think of me. My daughter, I've been saving for her therapy since she was born, but she, with me as a dad, I was picking her up from school a few weeks ago, and there was really good music on my headphones, and I walked her. It's about 2.5 mile walk to school, so I walk as an exercise, grab her, and about 10 minutes early, I'm outside her school, and I'm just bopping away. I'm dancing, music. Didn't realize that the entire class was at the window her class at the window on the 4th floor. Look at Jess's daddy. If looks could have killed, she walked out of the class. Hi, honey. Death stare. So it's good though. It's fun to be a single dad. I'm having a really good time.
That's awesome.
I remember my time as a single dad.
Gotta give a shout out. It's funny. My girlfriend, Gabby, who's also a Peloton rider, and she is a huge fan of you guys. And then of course, this is the strangest thing to give a shout out to my girlfriend, and then give a shout out to my ex-wife, Kira, who also, as you guys know, loves your show. And my favorite story about Kira, when I got the Peloton, she was still a flywheel girl, right? And I wrote this blog post about how I love Peloton because it's not flywheel, and it's not the screaming woo girls that you get in the flywheel classes, right? Except for like Cody's classes. And so you have these it's an actual workout. It feels good. I put this blog post, and she sends me an email. She's like, you just jump on the latest trend, and it's just so, and you don't need it. So I'm gonna stick with my flywheel. Blah, 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 blah. And then like fast forward, like 3 months later, I go to pick up my daughter at her mom's, and my daughter said something. Yeah, mommy goes into her room, and she has this bicycle there. And she used this bicycle, and I'm like, oh, she bought a bike to it. I said, no, it doesn't. It's like yours. It doesn't move. I'm like, oh. And so I go to pick up Jessa, and the doors to my ex's room is closed, and I'm like, oh, you got a boyfriend in there? Ha ha. She's like, no, it's just dirty. I'm like, is it? I swipe open the door. Oh, is there a Peloton in there? Totally owned her on that. But she's pretty awesome, and it's we're very fortunate, we have a very good relationship with that. But it was very funny, yeah. So she's like more of a junkie than I am. She'd be like, you want to ride tomorrow? 4:30, 4 a.m. So we do like a couple times a week. We'll do like some early 90-minute rides together, like like some Wilpers or some Jen Sherman 80s rides or whatever. And it's just we'll do them like 3 years ago, and we'll literally be the only two people on the leaderboard. And it's fun.
It is, yeah. That's a great way to do it.
I'm certainly going to make the class. I mean, if I'm going to sleep in on her ass, right? I'm not going to have her own that. Oh, like you slept in this morning? No. So I'm going to be up. So,
they will never let you live it down.
Right.
Yeah. Never happened.
Well, we should probably let people know what your leaderboard name is if they would like to find you.
It is just like everything else on all of the socials. My leaderboard name is Peter Shankman, and I run a couple of hashtag groups. I run the Peloton ADHD Dads. Peloton ADHD Tribe and Peloton Single Dads.
Awesome.
Those are my two big ones, and they're a lot of fun. There's also it's funny because there's also Peloton Skydivers, which I belong to because I'm a licensed jumper. And but yeah, Peloton ADHD Dads and or ADHD Tribe and Single Dads, Peloton Single Dads are my two big ones.
Awesome. And I guess before we let you go, maybe also let people know where they can find you on all the TikToks.
Yep. On everything, I'm at Peter Shankman on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. My email is petershankman.com. I'm very easy to find. I'm the only verified Peter Shankman out there. It was funny. I was when I first started dating my girlfriend, her daughter, his daughter, like 12-year-old daughter, her daughter comes in and says, Mom, Peter. Yeah. Is Peter what? I looked at his Instagram and she's like, oh my God, what is it? Is it him and another one? He's verified. So I'm like the bomb when it comes to, but yeah, I'm Peter Shankman everywhere. And I'm still based in New York. I'm starting to get back on the road a lot more, which is cool. So, I'm always up for meeting people. I'm training for the marathon. If you're in New York, want to go for a run, or if I'm in your city, send me an email. I'd love to do that. I'm slow as fuck, but I'm funny. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I guess we should do this again in 4 years.
Yeah.
I've missed you guys. I'm glad to know that you both made it through and that you're both still doing well. You both look great. This was awesome. I'm really glad to see you guys.
Well, thank you. And thanks for taking time, because we know that you are super busy.
Yeah, definitely.
Always.
We really appreciate it.
All right. Stay in touch.
You too.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Clip out.
Well, I guess that brings this episode to a close. You made it to the end with your migraine. So until next week, where can people find you?
Facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe, Instagram, Twitter, and Peloton leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert, or on Facebook at Facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. Find the show online, Facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our YouTube channel. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep pedaling
and running.